Never a good old cup of tea to accompany a reading of The Journey of a Lifetime, am I right? Anyways, this is the Animals of Farthing Wood, The Journey of a Lifetime, Chapter 2, The Long Farewell. Everybody, I've enjoyed the previous chapter, done a great job in setting up the story, introducing the Grey Foxes, including Caesar and Scottish Fox, and we have our new Red Fox, Jinx, who the Grey Foxes want dead because she apparently did something wrong and deserted them for some reason. But it looks like she and Plucky are in love and they're going to become mates, so without further ado, let's read. Plucky was overjoyed when he awoke the next day. He had met the vixen he had seen and was already enamored with her. She was perfect. Beautiful, smart, funny, and more. During the night, they had talked much about several different subjects, including the story of the legend of the Farthing Wood animals and the oath. This almost shocked Jinx to find out the legend was real. Having been told stories about it during her cubhood, she then completely understood Plucky's kindness, and when he told her about his best friend, Dash, being a hare, the pair both departed the earth still in conversation. It was late morning and the sun was high in the sky, brightening up the landscape of White Deer Park. "So you two race every day?" Jinx asked, referring to Plucky and Dash's races. "Yep, every day, and every day she beats me," Plucky replied, sounding slightly disappointed. "But I'll beat her someday," he then laughed. "Well, she hasn't raced me yet," Jinx said with a sideways smile. "You a fast runner, then?" "The fastest," Jinx continued cockily. Plucky laughed. "You're gonna fit in just fine here." "Oh, Plucky, I'm grateful for the help and the offer, but I can't stay." "Oh, okay, I just thought—" "Never mind," Plucky said sadly, his ears drooping. He knew why she couldn't stay. "Where will you go?" "I'm not sure. Probably just keep heading west," Jinx said before being interrupted by the appearance of another fox. "Plucky?" It was Plucky's mother, Whisper, who then walked up to them. "Oh, hi, Mum," Plucky greeted his mother. "And who's this?" Whisper asked, referring to Jinx, who looked a little nervous. This is Jinx. And Jinx, this is my mother." It's one of those awkward moments you have in your life where you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, if you're a girl or a boy, and you gotta meet the parents. "Hi, nice to meet you, Jinx didn't know the other vixen's name until she answered. "Whisper, nice to meet you too." The two vixens had smiled at each other, giving Plucky a bit of relief. "So do you live in the park?" Whisper asked. "No, I was just passing through. In fact, I should really be going." Jinx then moved over to Plucky and gave him a short, affectionate nuzzle. To Plucky, though, it felt like a lifetime. "Thanks for letting me stay the night. I won't forget it." She then turned to leave and looked back. "Goodbye, Plucky. Goodbye, Whisper." "Goodbye, Jinx," Plucky replied, almost heartbroken. Jinx then ran off alone to live her own life. Plucky could only watch as her lithe, Vulpin figure soon disappeared from view. He sat down and sighed. "So was that the vixen who everyone was talking about yesterday?" Whisper asked, walking up next to her son. Well, I didn't actually meet her until last night, but yes, that was her. He then sighed again. And now she's gone. She seems really nice. Why don't you go after her? Whisper suggested. Her maternal instinct could tell that Plucky more than just liked this vixen. Mother, you know I can't. I'm the leader of Farthingland, and I can't just abandon that. Plucky paused, taking a deep breath. I don't know what to do. Whisper took pity on her son. He was right, but he deserved to be able to go after the vixen he loved. Well, you can go and ask Fox for advice. I'm sure he'll understand. Maybe. I suppose it can't hurt to go and ask. Exactly, Whisper confirmed with a smile, before lying down outside Plucky's earth. Go, I'll wait here. Plucky then quickly departed and headed to his grandparents' earth with a steady stroll. It was another warm late summer day. However, it would soon be autumn. Some of the leaves had already begun changing color, and the days were gradually getting shorter. Plucky soon reached Fox and Vixen's earth, and calmly poked his head inside, so as not to startle them. Hello? Plucky? To what do we owe the pleasure? Fox questioned. Plucky didn't often come to see them as much as he used to, so it was quite a surprise. Well, I'm looking for a bit of advice, really. It's about a vixen. Ah, Vixen let out, and walked over to Plucky to lick his cheek. Our young grandson is growing up. She smiled, and Fox let loose a quiet chortle. Yeah, all right, Plucky said, a little annoyed, but he knew his grandparents were just joking with him. So what's the problem? Fox asked. Well, I met this vixen, and she's great and everything. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with her? Fox asked further. Well, I've only just met her, I don't know. But I can't stop thinking about her. Where is she now? Vixen asked. She's gone. She was just passing through. Probably never to see her again now. Plucky looked down gloomily, then lifted it back up slowly. Unless I can go after her? Fox and Vixen shared a look. Plucky could see the concern on their faces. Is this the same vixen that Grey Fox Clan is hunting? Asked Fox. How did you know about... Friendly and Ranger told us everything when they returned last night. Vixen interrupted. They said you handled the situation very well. I handled it the only way I knew how, Plucky responded. And we're all proud of you, Plucky. Fox paused. But I think you should let this go. Plucky raised his head and pricked his ears up in shock. How can you say that? Plucky protested. It's not safe to be meddling with the issues of others, especially these grey foxes. We don't know what they're capable of. Well, what they don't know can't hurt them. That's not the point. If these grey foxes are determined on catching this vixen, it'll put you in danger, and in turn, all of us in danger. You're the leader of Farthingland, and have to consider the oath too before you do anything. That's what I did when I came to see you, Plucky raised his voice. I might not as well have bothered. I know it's probably not what you want to hear, Fox started. No, not really. I just thought you might be a bit more understanding, Plucky argued. Plucky, we do understand the situation you're in. Vixen interrupted to try and defuse the argument. But Fox is right. You are the leader and have to consider the oath. Well, maybe I don't want to be leader anymore. It's not like I do anything around here anyway. Plucky, I've heard enough! Fox shouted, standing up. It was the first time he had ever raised his voice at his grandson. I made you leader because I thought you were ready. Clearly Yes, you did make me leader, which means you can't tell me what I can and can't do. Plucky interrupted forcefully and turned to leave. And you still got a long way to go before you tell me what to do, Fox growled. Fox! Vixen shouted in horror of her mate's outburst. No one could tell you what to do. Plucky then stormed out the earth without looking back. Plucky, come back! Vixen pleaded with her grandson, but he'd already run off. Oh, Fox, there's so much of bold in him, Vixen remarked to her mate, sadly, with a tear leaving her eye. Fox sighed. I know, Vixen. I'm more than glad about that, but now it's beginning to worry me. He lay back on the floor. Oh, what have I done? I should have known that it was gonna be an argument. Oh well. Plucky walked through the park back to his earth in the mood. His grandparents' advice was not at all how he hoped it would be. How dare they tell him he shouldn't go after the vixen that could very well be the love of his life? However, he couldn't deny that they were right, but he was too angry with them to make any sense of it. When he arrived at his own earth, his mother was still there, lying on the ground, who then sat up when she saw Plucky coming. So how'd it go? Whisper asked. The question became rhetorical when she saw the frown on Plucky's face. Not well, Plucky answered. He then continued to tell Whisper what had happened during the meeting. Once he was finished, Plucky sighed and lay down next to his mother and looked off into the distance, not particularly concentrating on anything. Whisper looked down at her son. Plucky, do you really want to go after this vixen? Well, yeah, Plucky replied, looking up at his mother. Then go after her, Whisper reassured. What? Go after her? But after what my grandfather said, I think... Plucky started before his mother interrupted him. Plucky, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know I probably haven't been the greatest mother, and I know I've been overprotective of you, a lot more than once. But you must understand that it's because you are the one thing left in my world that I really, truly care about. Plucky listened to his mother attentively. It was always very, very rare for him to witness her open up emotionally like this. Plucky, I never took the chance to tell your father how much I loved him before he died. A small tear fell from her eyes. Speaking about Bald was always a delicate subject to both of them. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. If you really like her, and I could tell she liked you too, then go after her, be with her, and care for her. Mum, Plucky, you're the greatest son I could have ever asked for. You've accomplished so much in your life already, and you're still only young. I'm so proud of you, and I know you're ready for this. You deserve to go find some real happiness. You really think I'm ready? I know you are. She then licked Plucky's face, who then gave his mother a nuzzle. Oh, Plucky, my only cub. You've grown so fast. Thank you, Mother. Just promise me you'll be safe, Whisper said, releasing another tear. I will, and I promise I will come back. With that, both mother and son bade each other farewell, and Plucky left, while Whisper watched her son leave her to go live his own life. Plucky traveled west, the direction Jinx had said she would be traveling in. She had quite a head start on him, so he was running, which immediately caught the attention of a hare that he didn't notice he'd ran past. But what about leadership of Farthing Land? Plucky, where are you going? It was Dash. She seemed troubled about something, which was made clear when she spoke next. I haven't seen you since yesterday. Where have you been? Plucky then explained to Dash the quick version of what had happened since last night until now. So pretty much, I'm leaving the park and I'm going after her. Dash's ears drooped. Were you just gonna leave without saying goodbye? She said sadly. Plucky stopped and thought. He hadn't considered about anyone else when he decided to leave the park. I suppose I hadn't considered it. I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad I ran into you then. Dash's tone had perked up and she turned to travel the same direction Plucky was. Come on! What are you doing? Plucky asked, confused. Well, I'm coming with you. Oh, no. Dash, I have to do this myself. It could be dangerous. Hey! No best friend of mine is going on an adventure outside the park without his best friend, she said assertively. Now come on! Race you to the boundary! Plucky couldn't help but smile, and soon ran after his friend. He was glad of his and Dash's friendship being so strong. Yep. This just hit me right in the feels. So, quick recap. Jinx has gone west to possibly avoid the Grey Foxes. Plucky told Fox and Vixen about him. They had responsibilities. Plucky had a certain fit of young love. He and Fox had what could possibly be their first argument. And Whisper encouraged Plucky to go after Jinx. And Dash is coming with Plucky to find Jinx because best friends always travel together, eh? It didn't take too long for the two friends to reach the boundary. Dash went straight on through and waited for Plucky on the other side. She'd left the park several times before, so it didn't scare her. Plucky, on the other hand, stopped at the fence. He had been outside the park before, when he was taken by the humans and taken to the other nature reserve, which then merged with White Deer Park. Apart from that one time, though, it was all new to him, and was starting to have second thoughts. That was until he heard his name being called from behind him. Plucky, wait! It was Charmer who called him. Ranger and Friendly was with her. What are you guys doing here? Plucky asked. Fox told us what happened, and we're here to make sure you don't leave, Ranger answered. Plucky had a sudden change of heart. He didn't care if his grandfather didn't approve anymore. He was old enough to make his own decisions. You shouldn't have wasted your breath then. I've made my choice, Plucky said defiantly. Friendly and Ranger then proceeded to try and convince Plucky to stay in the park. They shared several heated arguments, but Charmer had listened carefully to Plucky's responses and had stayed quiet during the confrontation, until Ranger asked for her advice too. Charmer, come on, back us up here, Ranger coaxed, looking to his mate. Plucky, I think you should go, Charmer announced. What? What? Plucky, Ranger, and Friendly all said simultaneously, shocked. Charmer, Friendly turned to look at his sister. We're supposed to be convincing him to stay. Friendly, let me finish. Charmer then turned back to her nephew. Plucky, I'm not saying you should leave because you want to. I'm saying you should listen to what your heart is telling you. And I know my father wouldn't approve. But I followed my heart when I met Ranger, and he didn't approve of that when it happened either. Ranger couldn't deny that Charmer was right. He smiled and gave her a short nuzzle. Friendly also couldn't deny her logic, and the two foxes then gave up their argument, knowing it was now futile to change Plucky's mind. So, what does your heart tell you? Charmer continued. It's telling me that I have to do this, Plucky responded. The beginning of the true hero's journey, eh? Then do it. Thank you, Charmer. Just be careful. Don't worry, I will. Plucky turned and walked through the fence before remembering he had one last thing to do first. Oh, I should probably put one of you guys in charge while I'm gone. This immediately caught Friendly and Ranger's attention, both of them eager to hear which one of them Plucky would hand his leadership to. Ranger did ask to be leader at the end of Season 3, and, Friendly might make the claim, I think Friendly would have made the claim of leadership if, he was there in Season 3 instead of just being dropped altogether. Charmer, you're leader now, Plucky announced. What?! Oh my gosh, that is so freaking cool! Okay. Charmer should be leader. Me? Why Charmer? Friendly asked what they were all thinking. Simple, really. If I picked Friendly, Ranger wouldn't be happy, and if I picked Ranger, Friendly wouldn't be happy. That's why, Plucky explained, finishing with a smile. Why wouldn't... I wish that Charmer had been the de facto leader of the Foxes for a while. She could be put in charge, like... Vixen could have been put in charge of the Foxes back in Season 1, if I recall. Ranger and Friendly both looked at each other before Ranger spoke. I suppose that's fair. Friendly nodded in agreement. Also, Plucky continued, could you promise me 2 favors? His aunt and uncles listened closely, letting him continue. Could you look after my mother? I think she feels a bit lonely. And, don't tell my grandfather and grandmother I've gone. At least not for a while. Plucky, they deserve to... Charmer began. Promise me, Plucky interrupted forcefully. Charmer, Ranger, and Friendly all looked at each other before, a little reluctantly, saying in unison, We promise. Thank you. Plucky then turned and took a deep breath before heading off away from the park, away from his home. Hey, Dash. Charmer grabbed the hare's attention, who had been quiet during the whole confrontation. Take care of him. I will, Dash replied with a smile, and then followed Plucky into the distance. There was no need for goodbyes between them. Each of them knew they would all see each other again, no matter how far in the future it would be. The 2 foxes and Vixen looked on as they watched their nephew and his friend disappear off into the distance under the afternoon sun. That That was quite the surprise right there. I wasn't expecting anything like that. 14 Sleepyhead 09 has officially grabbed my interest. And, if I can, I'm going to read through this entire story and release it onto YouTube. If I can't release it on the YouTube because Everstone is a bit of crud Wi-Fi and I won't be able to find a site I can go into unless it's either BT or TNT or something, I will at least have the memories of the recordings right here. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope you're all ready for the next chapter. Until then, I'm the Masked Ranger saying, keep moving forward, have a nice day, never lose your smile, and remember the oath. Bye-bye.